Welcome back, CI families. Thanks for joining us for another week of the CI Family Reunion. I'm Nick.
And I'm Faith.
We're your hosts, and this is Together for Good.
As adults, we all have our own personal communication styles and preferences, including body language, tone, and word choice. Some of us prefer to talk with our hands, while others may use metaphors and examples freely.
Communication is key in so many relationships, including with your significant other, coworkers, and family members. And it's especially important with children. Did you know that you can adapt your communication to better suit the developmental needs of your child, and that can make your communication more effective with your child? That's why this week, during our Healthy Families, we spoke with Karis Bullion, a professional counselor, about strategies and ideas for how to change our communication to better suit our child's developmental needs. Let's watch together. Karis, welcome back to the show. Thanks again for joining us. And you want to take it away?
Yeah, thanks, Nick. I'm glad to be back and, talking more about how to connect as families, like while we're dealing with crazy pandemic stuff, right? Something I'm seeing, working with families right now is that kids kind of already felt like they were on summer break, and now they're actually on summer break and nothing's really changed. So how do we cope with that right now? And like maybe arguing more, kind of just tired of being around each other. Do we go outside? Do we not go outside? Right. So, is that kind of what you guys are seeing in your community too? Or does it look different? Or what have y'all heard? How are you hearing families right now?
So I completely agree that we need some solutions to figure out how to cope with being around each other so much.
And so as the adults and caregivers and parents, we need to be aware of our own communication styles and, our body language and our tone and how we are saying things to kids. Because when we're stuck at home, we are realizing that we're not communicating well. Maybe we're yelling, losing our temper, just forget it. I don't want to talk about it. Or your kids are saying that to you and it's just not working.
So do you have any tips that can help us move forward if you're a parent who probably falls into this cycle and it's really hard? Stop repeating yourself. It seems like it's a pattern that can't be broken. What should you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, kind of going back to last week of recognizing when our lid is being flipped and we're kind of feeling emotional and dysregulated, first making sure that we're in a place where we can use our executive functioning, use our problem solving skills. And, like I said last week when I worked with little bitties in preschool, when they were throwing their tantrums and kicking and screaming, I would take a step back and I would say, you know what, Miss Karis is feeling a little frustrated right now too. And so I'm going to take a deep breath so that I can calm down. Let me know when you're ready to join me because I'll be over here when you're ready. If your child is still playing in the bath and you're trying to get them dressed for bedtime, instead of saying stop playing, you can say it's time to put on our pajamas. Right? Letting them know and being very clear and very concrete. Because if you think about little bitties and even going into elementary school, they're very black and white thinking. And so they think stop playing. I'm still here in the bathtub though, chilling. If we're very clear about what we want, we're meeting them on their level and what they're able to comprehend.
Growing up, my mom would say things like, you guys don't look for things right. If we were supposed to be looking for car keys or a toy or something, she would come in and she would say, you never pick things up when you look. You have to actually move things when you're looking for stuff. You can't just look with your eyes. You have to move stuff.
And she was meeting you, where you could understand that of okay, you're having trouble finding your shoes. You're just looking with your eyes. So pick up things and look underneath things.
So many of us, our parents said, because I said so, and, that's just the way it is. And, listen to me and don't talk back and all those kinds of things.
Well, think about when you were a kid and you were asking, like, why do we do it this way? Well, because I said so. How did you feel?
I felt voiceless when that happened. Like I had no choice, and that what I thought or what I wanted to know didn't matter.
And so it may not have been intentional, and like we have the best intentions in raising our kids, but if we can be, intentionally connecting with them and building those relationships so that, when we are talking to them, like we're making them feel seen and heard, they're gonna want to, comply and like do what they're supposed to do out of feeling, loved and respected and cared for, and not because they're afraid.
I really appreciate you, Karis, giving us some tips about how we can, as adults and as parents, communicate more effectively, especially at a time where we need to communicate and connect with our children.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm glad that, I can be able to help families right now.
Helping your child build reading comprehension is easy. All you have to do is pick up a book, curl up somewhere comfortable with your child, and ask really good questions. Just like with listening to understand, comprehension is all about thinking more deeply about what was said to truly understand it. By asking your child questions about the story as you go, you're helping to train their brain to think more deeply and reflect as they read on their own. Here's some examples of the types of questions you can ask. Ask questions about the events in the story so far. What has happened so far in the story? What's the problem that the characters are having? Why did that just happen? Ask questions about the characters. What is this character like? How are those two characters alike? How are they different? Why does this character do what they do? Ask your child to make predictions. What do you think will happen next? What will they do now? Who do you think will save the day? Ask imaginative questions. What is another way that the story could have ended? What if they had never done that in the first place? And finally, ask questions that help your child make connections with the real world. Do you know anyone like this character? What would you have done if you were there? Have you ever felt the way that she feels? Do you want to live in a place like that? What would you say to them if you could talk to them? We've included bookmarks in the summer resource box so that you can remember the types of questions to ask when you're reading to your child. And if you didn't get a bookmark from the learning box, don't worry. We're going to have a link so that you can download the file for your family. And remember that reading, just like listening, is really hard when it's boring and monotonous. So don't talk like this when you're reading a book. Bring the story to life. Give the characters voices and talk with their attitudes and inflections. Take your child on a journey with you as you read. And remember, ask really good questions.
This week's Game of the Week challenges your family to effectively communicate. It's head count. Are you and your family up for the challenge? Come on, let's play. Together for good. Counting is as easy as 1, 2, 3, literally. Can you and your family count to 20 as a team? To play this game, simply gather your family together. You can gather around a table or in a circle or even in your living room. The goal of the game is for your family to reach 20 with each of your family members taking turns to say a number. Each member should say a number one at a time. If anyone speaks at the same time, your entire family has to start back over at 1. And you cannot say a number back to back. Also, you shouldn't count in a pattern or predetermined order. Once you gather your family, you're ready to play.
1, 2,
3,
4, 5,
6,
7. 1,
2.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Faith, I love talking about communication because so many people feel like they're either just good at it or bad at it. And there's just so many things that Karis talked about today and that we talked about that can help all of us get better.
You're so right. I think we all take communication for granted. But with the tips and tricks we learned today, I hope we're able to use those things to improve our communication, not only with one another, but with the kids we work with as well.
Yeah, I was just practicing with my nodding and focusing on what you were saying.
Well, thank you so much for listening to me, Nick. I feel heard.
So parents, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you won't miss out on future videos. And like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram.
Also, let us know how this video helped you or what we can do to help you more by completing the feedback survey in the description box below. And always remember, we're all in this together.
Together for good.